We haven't said it in a while, but that we need a theology of getting fired. There's a Hall of Famer, Clayton Kershaw, pitcher for the Dodgers. He's a believer. Well, that's not a hidden part of his life. What's he going to do? And I'm not one who, demands everyone say something, because I don't know that he needs to say something out loud if he's saying something to management, but he doesn't need to make a decision. This is a decision that Jaylene Hinkle made as a member of a women's soccer team. This is a decision that I think we're up to, 4 NHL players have decided to make, and something far less controversial, which is just, that we're going to wear the jersey. I mean, this isn't even close. I mean, they're going to have a performance of this, blasphemy, and what's he going to do? I understand the manager of the Dodgers too has a Christian bio on his social media page. It puts him in a really tough spot, and it's a spot that I'm not ready to say here's exactly what they should do, but I do think there's some clear things that they should not be a part of.
Right.
And, are the Dodgers really going to tell Kershaw no? I mean, is that really what's going to happen? I don't think that's going to happen. So if you have the ability to do good and to stop evil, what do you do? And I think that this is an example for the rest of us, because right now it's him, and, none of us are in that position. More and more athletes are going to have to choose this. More and more high-profile execs and so on are in these strange positions to have to choose how do you respond to this. And that if we're going to live out that motto, not to live by lies, from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, if we're going to do the good that we can do when we can do it, and if we're going to just do the right thing and trust God with the results, all the things that are part of this theology of getting fired, it's easy for us right now to sit on the sidelines and say, here's what these guys should do. And we might be right about that. Mm-hmm. What we need to be thinking about, too, is what am I going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do if we're faced with those same sorts of decisions?
And how will I help when someone in my church family is? Or I was thinking about the same thing with the Gaines, Chip and Joanna Gaines. They're Christians. They have a huge line that's run at Target. I mean, I have to imagine they have a huge influence on Target's business. And I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what God would be calling them to do, but I know that I'm grateful that they're in a position of influence.
It's a great question. That is another name that has been floated around a lot this week, and I think they've got to make these tough calls. And your point too about what are the rest of us going to do when somebody else takes a stand and pays for it. That's part of the theology of getting fired, as well, is that we make this decision where that line is now. And then we also decide, look, people can really pay the price, and so we're going to support them. We're going to come around them. We're going to, encourage them. It's a kind of a brave new moment here that where we're going to have to think in ways we didn't have to think before, and there's going to be a lot at stake, a lot of money, positions, certainly social credit. And the level of social pressure is really high. All that's going to be part of the equation.
Yeah. I was continuously blown away at the Colson Center National Conference with each Colson Fellow I met, because as you know, at the end, when you come to the end of your year in the Colson Fellows program, you're asked to come up with an action plan. And I'm hearing from these people about the initiatives that they're starting and the things that they want to do. And each one was more amazing than the next. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like making a list over here to tell John about later. So I'm just going to put this out there. If you're a Colson Fellow and you need an idea, we need an alternative to Target. I would still like somewhere to go where I can get a candle and a jar of peanut butter at the same time. I don't know of a lot of places where I can do that. And it's getting less and less tenable to take my kids in there because I don't know what they're going to see. And I hate having to worry about that. So but you're planting that seed.
You're joking, but you're bringing up a really important point, which is... when we say, oh, it's time for us to think about it and say, well, when that decision comes down the pike for me as a CEO or me as a mom or, as a teacher or, something like that. If we can't even choose not to shop at Target, if we can't even make that, if that's too hard of a choice for us to make, it's
going to get tough.
And listen, look, you say, what's the cheapest place to get X, Y, and Z? Okay. That's an easy question. Are we willing to pay more to not enable and support? I mean, we don't do a whole lot of boycott conversations around the Colson Center. I don't believe most boycotting helps, but some does. But this is less a boycott about joining something organized and more a question of complicity.
Yeah.
And if we're not willing to make that one, how are we going to make another one? How are we going to make the harder choices, I guess?